Congratulations on completing Module 1. You're now entering the second and final module of the course, Module 2. This next assignment focuses on sexual predators, criminal paraphilia, and murder. Because the required reading is extensive, Professor Reese has divided Chapter 5 into two parts. For this assignment, please read pages 159 through 184. The chapter contains a wealth of valuable information, so take your time and read it carefully. In this assignment, we will cover the first 5 objectives listed in the chapter. In the next assignment, we will alter the objective slightly. But for now, let's turn to Objective 1. Let's explore the differences between sex offenders and sexual predators. A major challenge in investigating sex crimes and handling offenders lies in distinguishing between sex offenders and sexual predators. To the general public, all sex offenders are often seen as equally dangerous and deserving of incarceration. In many cases, that concern is justified. For example, nearly 2/3 of California's 120,000 registered sex offenders have committed crimes against children. While even one offense can have devastating effects, it's important to understand that not all sex offenders are predators, but all sexual predators pose a significant danger. Sex offenders and sexual predators can be placed on opposite ends of a continuum. Sex offenders typically commit a single offense, target one victim, often a family member, are not psychopathic, do not show paraphilic behavior, and may respond well to treatment. Sexual predators, on the other hand, commit repeated offenses, often target both strangers and family, escalate their sexual behaviors, show psychopathic traits, exhibit multiple paraphilias, and are rarely treatable. Many offenders fall somewhere between these two extremes, gradually evolving in their fantasies, behavior, and level of danger. Investigators sometimes categorize sexually motivated crimes as subtypes of broader criminal patterns. In some serial murders, sexual assault is central to both the psychological and physiological act of killing. In others, sexual violence may serve to humiliate or dominate the victim, with little relation to the killer's primary motive. To better understand this distinction, Professor Reese recommends reading Profile 5.1 on Charles Albright, the eyeball serial killer. Some researchers differentiate sex murderers from lust murderers. The sex murderer kills often out of fear and a desire to silence his victim, whereas the lust murderer appears to harbor deep-seated fantasies. For killers such as Albert DeSalvo, the Boston Strangler, rapes are only a continuation of progressive sexual fantasies and behaviors that finally lead to murder. The act of rape, whether it be the actual physical act or a symbolic rape during which an object is inserted into the vagina, was found to be common among serial killers in this study. For some offenders, the act of rape served as only one form of sexual assault. They engaged in a variety of mutilations, sexual perversions, and desecrations of the victim's corpse. A paraphilia is an erotosexual condition involving an obsessive dependence on an unusual stimulus, physical or fantasy, in order to achieve or maintain sexual arousal and/or orgasm. The DSM-V also adds that such a condition covers a time frame of at least 6 months. Hickey notes that occasional paraphilic fantasies are common. Some paraphilia are legally tolerated, certain fetishes, while others involve criminal activities. Between these two spectrums lies a gray area of defining sexual activity as either criminal or non-criminal. Erotophonophilia, an extreme paraphilia, is lust, sexual murder. This involves the acting out of sadistic behaviors in the course of brutally torturing and murdering their victims. Such definitions frequently require an examination of the legal conception of sexual crimes, which usually involves issues of consent and aggressiveness. This chapter contains a substantial amount of material. For example, Hickey distinguishes between pedophiles and child molesters, noting that while both target children, they differ in important behavioral and psychological ways. Most pedophiles do not intend to harm their victims physically. However, some serial killers eliminate their victims to destroy evidence of their crimes. One such killer admitted to murdering young boys after sexually assaulting them to avoid detection. Many serial offenders were themselves abused as children. and later repeat this pattern of abuse. Pedophiles are primarily attracted to children, emotionally, socially, and sexually. They often seek relationships with children, preferring their company over that of adults. Many do not view themselves as predators, but as individuals with a fixed sexual orientation they cannot change. Due to pervasive denial and persistent fantasies, they may falsely believe that children can consent to sexual activity. Child molesters, while also targeting children, differ from pedophiles in key ways. They are more likely to marry, have sexual relationships with adults, and raise children. Some molest their own children or others, but unlike pedophiles, they generally do not seek emotional intimacy with child victims. They are opportunistic, fully aware that their actions are exploitative. Unlike pedophiles, they do not typically groom victims or seek child-focused careers. Child molesters may abuse children in both private and public settings, sometimes even when parents are nearby. In extreme cases, they may abduct, rape, and murder their victims. Once again, this video does not adequately cover the material in the text. It serves as an introduction, so please read the material carefully.